Hi, stamping friends. It's Sherry Parker coming to you live from Mason, Ohio on Wednesday, June 26th. Hard to believe that 4th of July is next week. I can't even believe it, how time flies. It's been great that it's summer. Love the warm weather. It's been very warm here in Ohio, but super glad that it's summertime and all the fun and gathering of friends and everything. I wanted to take a second just to thank everyone. My 26th anniversary with Stampin' Up! Was last week in June. Hard to believe. The girls were just 2 and 5 when I started out, and I've loved it ever since. So those of you that have been along the journey, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you. Love when you come to classes or just correspond by email, or just have a lot of you become my friends, and I really do want to take this opportunity to thank you. So thank you so much. And with that, about 9 months ago, you might remember, I had my very first Facebook Live. It was a challenge that I was participating in and just challenged me to get out of my comfort zone. And tonight is the 35th Facebook Live that I've had since I started back in September. So I'm really excited about that because it wasn't something I was very comfortable doing, and it's been a lot of fun. It's really forced me to use my supplies. So often I would buy things and just get busy and not even open or use the things that I bought. So it's been great to just explore new ideas, creativity. I've connected with a lot of new people. It's been a lot of fun. So thank you for watching. And as always, if you share or comment on my videos during, well, even on replay, but during the video or later, I do give away the projects that I make. So you'll automatically be entered in to win the project. And tonight I have a really fun project to make. So real quick before we get started, just want to mention that the Stampin' Up! Stamp Plus Die Cut Bundle special 10% off. That deal goes through the end of June, so 4 more days. It also applies to the Stampin' Cut die machine. So if that's something you've been thinking about, it's a great time to invest. 10% off, who doesn't like that? Hey, thanks for joining, Ruth. So tonight, the technique that I'm going to show is something that was new to me. And frequently I will have friends, customers who will send me a video or a picture of something like, hey, I saw this really cool idea. Have you ever done this? Or could you show me how to do this? So this technique tonight is something that was shared to me by Cheryl Bren. She sent me a video. The woman who did the demonstration, I'm not sure if she was a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator or maybe just a crafter. So it was a really cool idea. Cheryl followed up by sending me a card with this technique, and I really thought it was cool, and I had to try it. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And I will be using Stampin' Up! Supplies. I think the video that she shared, the person used some different types of materials that I actually have never seen or used before. So hope you like it. So I'm going to turn over my camera and we will get started. Okay, hopefully you can see all right. Need to put my readers on so I can see. Okay, so this is the card that Cheryl sent me. And this particular embossing folder, the Citrus embossing folder, is a 3D folder. It retired a couple months ago. Really cute. It corresponds with some dies and stamps as well. But for this technique, you just use the embossing folder. So this was the inspiration for tonight. And I wanted to share that and thank Cheryl, of course, because I really, really love when people share ideas, and this is great. So tonight what we'll do is we are going to make this card here. And I used the same technique that Cheryl shared there. And the star of the show is the Layered Florals embossing folder. It's a 3D embossing folder, so it has really deep grooves and really you can see the different levels, I guess you could say, of the embossing. So it's not just one level, it's multiple. It looks real almost. I've used this before in different projects, but we're going to do it in a little different way tonight. So this is the card we're making, and the supplies, we're going to use a half sheet of peach pie cardstock. So it's 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle there. So there's our card base. And then we have a piece of petunia pop. that is 4 by 5 1/4, and that layers right on top of that. And then the white piece is 5 by 3 3/4. So those are the main supplies for tonight's card. And we'll start by running the white piece through our emboss machine. So as I mentioned, we're going to use this beautiful layered floral embossing folder, and we'll put the piece of white cardstock right in the middle there, and then run it through. So we'll just put it here on the platform, put the cover over top, and then crank it through. Of course, if you don't line it up straight, which I apparently didn't, sometimes it takes a little bit of muscle to get it through, but we got it through. So when you pull it out, it'll look like this. And I did mention I've used this before, just to kind of show you. So this is beautiful in and of itself. Like, here's a card. I received this in a card swap where they used a strip of it there as the focal point of this card. It's really, really elegant. And then a few months back, we actually ran the little pouch box through the embossing folder, and then we used color to kind of touch up the different areas, and we did the tag as well. So I thought that was really cute. So the same folder, but we're just going to use it in a slightly different way. So typically what you would do is use the top portion that's raised out, but what we're going to do is flip it over and use the debossed side. So a little bit different than what you might expect, but we're going to add color to the reverse side. So I'm going to start using the Peach Pie ink pad here. I'm using all of the new in colors. And to do this technique, you can do it a couple different ways. You can use the blending brushes here. You can also use a sponge dauber. Both will work. So what I'm going to do is actually apply color to the large flower. I'll show you, with the sponge dauber here. I'm just going in and adding color on the debossed or reverse side. So don't worry about staying in the lines, because as you can see from the sample that Cheryl made, you're going to be covering that up with black. So it's okay. Don't worry, it'll be fine. So I just used the dauber there, so you can see you get a nice heavy color. If you want, you can also use the blending brushes. One thing I forgot to do is put a piece of paper underneath. This can get kind of messy, just FYI. And if your work surface like this glass mat, which is wonderful, if you set something down on top of it, it'll pick up the ink. So it's better to just put a little piece of scrap paper there. So you can also use the blending brush and apply the color this way. So, use what you have. And I'm just using our regular Stampin' Up! Ink pads. I'm not doing anything special, just regular ink pads, and applying the ink directly onto the reversed sides of the embossed images. So I've done a few of the peach pie images, and now I will use the petunia pop. Just got a smudge on there. And we'll do the same thing. So I've got sponge dauber. I can do this one. You can see with the sponge dauber, it gets a little bit heavier. So depending on how soft you want your colors, you can use either or. I feel like with the black, because it's kind of a bold, vibrant end result, that the bold colors work really nicely. So you can see how dark that can get. But I'll do it both ways just so you can kind of see that. So I've done that flower. I'll do one over here, like that. So you can see it can be a little bit lighter with the brush. And then I might also just do a little corner over here. I always like things running off the sides. All right, we're filling it in. Don't panic. I know it might look messy, but that's okay. So no worries. We're gonna use Pretty in Pink on the next one. And I've got my blending brush. For this, I'm gonna, on the small flowers, I'll go in with the Pretty in Pink and start coloring some of those. I love these new in colors. They're so pretty. So it's really random. There's no real method to this madness, trust me. But you can see it's starting to come together. We're filling in all the different images. And I'll do one more here. You might not be able to tell real easily here, but there are leaves. And so I wanted to use the Shy Shamrock, which is another one of the in colors, just to give it some contrast. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll use the sponge dauber because the leaves are pretty small. I'll do a leaf here. And there's a leaf over here, maybe here. And I think there's even some small flowers that I'm gonna make green, which some people might think, oh, why would you do that? But it does add a little extra interest. So why not, right? So we'll do that. I think I'll do one more here. And then I've got a couple more images that I haven't colored in. So I will use a little dauber here and get those colored in as well. All right, so you can see we've colored in most of the images there. And I know that might seem messy, but no worries. There are a few little white spots. If you wanted, you could go back and add a little more color if you wanted. Okay, so once you've got your images colored in, this is when the magic really happens. So what we're gonna do next is take a black ink pad, and I'm using the Memento Tuxedo Black. And again, you can use, whatever you have. Cheryl told me, I think she used the Stays On for this, and she thought she might try something different next time. So I thought, well, why not? I will try this Memento Tuxedo Black. And I'm just going to basically swipe it over top. Don't panic. I know it seems like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? But you can see as the black starts to take on the images that aren't debossed, or this negative space, how it really makes those flowers and images pop. So you can obviously go dark or light depending on what you want to do. So it might take a second for that to dry, but I think that's the fun of it. But isn't that so fun, how that pops? I really think this is a cool technique, and I was super excited to give it a try. So that is basically the base of our card. And now all I'm gonna do is put my card together. I'm gonna set it aside. You can see I've got some black ink here. I'm gonna wipe that up real quick because I don't want it to get on anything. And just kind of wipe that off my mat, set that aside, and then we'll start assembling our card. Hey, Michelle. Yeah, it's a fun, cool technique. And it was new to me. So this may not be something that's new to you, but it was new to me. So first thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and adhere this to the card base. And before I actually put any paper down, I'm going to use this beautiful matching petunia pop ribbon. And we're going to do a little cheater bow where we bring it around the sides and tape it like that. And then adhere it to the card base like so. And the reason you can do that is you can save some ribbon. So I like to do that. Right? And then we'll go ahead and adhere this to the card base, like so. And we're ready to put our card together. So one of the things I used for this card, I've used this before in a Facebook Live, but this Grateful Blessing, it's one of the newer stamp sets, greeting set. I love the script. And I also love that some of the phrases are a little bit larger, so it makes a really pretty focal point. So I'm going to be using the You're Such a Blessing, and I'm going to stamp that with the Petunia Pop ink. And I pre-cut a square, and this square is from the Stylish Shapes die cuts, which is one of my very favorite circles. squares, you know, basic shapes that are super useful. So I've done that, and I'll adhere that to the front of the card using some Stampin' Dimensionals, of course. We love those. Can't ever have too many of those. Thanks, Ruth. Yeah, I think this is a really cool technique too, and it's not hard. Have you ever heard of this? Because I had not seen it before. So where have I been? 26 years and I'd never seen this before. So, but what this reminded me of is that, do you remember as a kid when you did those, the crayon etching, and so you would color the paper like with different colors, and then over top you would color it with black, and then you go back with a, you know, some kind of a tool, and you would carve out like a little design or something, and then the colors would show through. And this is what this reminds me of. So I've adhered this greeting to the front of the card, and now I'm going to use the in colored gems and just put a few of those on my greeting piece because it adds a nice little touch. So I used the peach pie, the petunia pop, and the pretty in pink. So a couple extra little touches. I'm going to also make my fake little bow here and tie a knot. So again, doing it this way, does help preserve some of your ribbon. Gonna make it last as much as you can. So we'll just snip the edges there. And I think it'd be really cute like that. But the last little touch, I love Wink of Stella, so I'm going to add some Wink of Stella into all the flowers, and that'll just make them pop even a little bit more. So I'm not sure how well you can see this on screen. Whoops, I put a little bit much there, but we'll just move it over to all the other flowers. I just opened a new one and I didn't really test it first. Probably a mistake, huh? So maybe just put on all the little flowers. And you could do this, of course, before you put the greeting down, but I don't like to waste. So I just wanted to use it where I knew it would show. All right. So I'm not sure if you can see the little sparkles, but it gives it a nice little sparkle. So there is our card. Isn't that a fun technique? I did another one where I added from the embossed image, just on the white piece of cardstock, I just fussy cutted that out and I colored it so the embossed edge was colored in, and then I added some of the Wink of Stella on that just as a little accent there. So I thought that was kind of a fun little embellishment. If you wanted, you could do that. You wouldn't have to. But then I also thought, you know, why not try some other things too? So I made a Christmas card using the same embossing folder. So even though it's layered florals and you may not think Christmas, I think just by changing up the colors that you use, it does seem very Christmassy. And then I used this really cool die cut that comes with the Mediterranean Blooms die cut set. Really pretty. I think it looks great for a card front. So I did a Christmas card, and then I also did a fall card. Again, just changed up the colors. It's just a thinking of you kind of fall colors. So I thought that would be fun too. And then I also thought, you know, you can try this technique with any of the 3D embossing folders. The spiral embossing folder is, it's one of my very favorites. And so I did the same thing where I colored that in same way, and then I just cut it out. So you could use that on a card as an accent as well. So really, that is it. A really short and sweet, just a quick little technique that you can try. And certainly if you try this, I would love to see what you create. So please share with me, because I love to see what other people create. Last week I did a stand-up card, and a lot of you went ahead and made them using different supplies, and it was really fun to see the results. So thank you so much. And again, the sale for the die cut bundles with stamps is through the end of June. And just simply, you can go on my website, sherrythomas.stampinup.net. You can see everything that's available. Anything that is not available will not be shown. So I encourage you to go online and look for first before you get your heart set on anything. But look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great rest of your June, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.